Welcome in, everyone, to a special edition of the Paul Farrington Show. Paul Farrington joined alongside Robert Ziggy Ziegler and David Barsamian. Guys, there's one reason that we're having this episode, and it's because Tyreek Hill is now a Miami Dolphin. The NFL news does not stop this offseason. You really can't go 2 days without a massive story right now. I cannot remember the last time. It probably hasn't happened where you've seen this level of players being traded every other week. Like, it is just unbelievable right now. As someone who works in sports media, my phone is buzzing every time I reach for my phone. I'm waiting to see the next big name that's being traded. You cannot escape it right now.
No, and I think it's more amazing of all the big things that have happened. Tom Brady unretiring, Russell Wilson to the Broncos, Aaron Rodgers is big deal. All of this crazy stuff is happening. I think this is far and away the most surprising. Because you look at who Tyreek Hill is and who he was to the Chiefs and the role he played. And there almost certainly has not been a better match of like synergy and player skill and offensive scheme that Mahomes, Hill, and Andy Reid had since Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and the West Coast 49ers. Like, it's really, that is how unique what we had is here. The Chiefs' offense was predicated on playing backyard ball with Tyreek Hill, Mahomes doing his thing, scrambling out, buying time for a big shot to Tyreek. If Tyreek's double covered, you throw it to Kelsey. We've got no idea what the Chiefs' offense is going to look like now. They were clearly planning on having Hill back. He was a huge player of him. They stuffed with him through a lot.
Well, this was never even a question. This was never even a question of would Tyreek Hill get traded before this afternoon. No one knew that this was even happening. Why don't we break it down here? He's going to the Dolphins for a first, a second, and a fourth this year, a fourth and a sixth next year. The contract extension that Hill received, 4 years, $120 million, $72 million of that is guaranteed. He's now, at least on a per-year basis, the highest paid receiver in the NFL. I think overall, too. He is the highest paid receiver in the NFL for the next few seasons.
The total value of his contract is less than Devontae Adams's, but in terms of real money he's going to get paid, yeah, he's the highest paid receiver right now. Probably will be for at least a year or two.
Yeah, I think this is mutually destructive for the Chiefs. And I'm going to break it down between mainly Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill here. Mahomes and Hill, none of us are doubting that they're both excellent football players. They're two of the best at their position in the history of the game. But when you're able to take one of the greatest ever at quarterback and receiver, when you put those two together, there are certain people who they just gel. You could even go back to when you're a kid playing backyard football. You always have that friend or that group of friends, the duo of friends, that just mesh. Like, they are just really good together. And that was Mahomes and Hill. They were magic on the field together, and they could create plays that very few duos in the history of the sport could recreate. Like, Mahomes isn't going to be able to recreate that with Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Did he sign with the Chiefs?
No, not yet, and he's certainly not going to be able to recreate it with Juju. Look, here's the thing. You would see plays where Tyreek Hill is like 20, 25 yards downfield, and he glances back at Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes just points to the left side of the field. It's just like, go there, Tyreek, I'll get you open. Tyreek Hill runs another 30 yards downfield, burns every defender. And Mahomes, scrambling out of the pocket on the run, delivers it perfectly into Tyreek Hill's hands for like an 80-yard touchdown. I'll say it, Paul. I don't think there is any duo in NFL history that's been able to do what these guys do. I'm not saying they're the best, but the set of talents is completely unique. I mean, the closest thing we've seen is, Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss? And Dante Culpepper, great player. But
you don't think Dante was that good?
I'll tell you what he certainly wasn't. He was nothing like Patrick Mahomes. You can't deny that.
No. Look, this is what I'll say, too. You watch those playoffs last year, the offense was built around Tyreek Hill. So losing him in that offense, I don't really know what they're going to do. But I would also like to transition a bit with the limited time we have and talk about the Dolphins a bit here. So the Dolphins offense last year, and I can say this firsthand, I went to a Dolphins-Jets game. Kind of a regrettable experience. Wasn't the most exciting game. Kudos to our EP who may jump in a sec, Zach Blomquist, for baiting me into that game. But
hey, David, I watched that game. David, that was worse for me. I bought a ticket. I didn't even go. I got
I
baited
think
to
the-
pick it in August.
I think the most amazing fact is that wasn't the worst game the Jets played last year. Because there was still Jets-Jaguars.
But look, my point here is that watching that game firsthand, it's clear that the run-pass offense last year, look, I'm not saying it'll transition this year with the new coaching staff that the Dolphins had, but last year, the run-pass option was a big part of what they were running through Tua. I don't see Tyreek Hill thriving in that environment. And I know, again, the argument that they have a new coaching staff, they have a new OC and head coach, things could be different in Miami. They might want to move Tua to a more pocket passing focused quarterback. But it's going to be difficult to just completely ignore the effectiveness of that offense. I'm not saying the Dolphins were incredible last year, but Tua had some big games. I mean, in that Jets game alone, I'm just looking at the stats here, he had 273 yards and 2 touchdowns. Week 1 against New England, a tough defense, he had 200 yards and a touchdown.
Light him up, Tua. Light him up.
That's what.
I mean,
he had healthy running days as well. Tyreek Hill will not thrive in a run pass offense. Let alone, if say you move him to an offense where there's an explosive quarterback, pocket passer, maybe not as mobile as Patrick Mahomes, but can still sling the ball downfield. Guys like Daniel Jones come to mind. But you put him in that offense, I don't think he does nearly what he's doing now. And like not even close. Like I think his value completely diminishes. So again, Dolphins fans should be excited, but I just don't see how he fits. He just doesn't really fit in that offense.
David, I've got to ask here because this is the typical Ziggy trivia time where he pulls out a stat to show why you're wrong. Tua Tagovailoa, he threw some touchdowns last year. Among NFL QBs, do you know where he ranked in touchdowns thrown?
You just tell me.
23rd. He threw 10 interceptions. He threw 16 touchdowns. He threw for 2,600 yards, and his healthy running was 128 yards on the season. This is in 12 games. So you're looking at Tua. The offense was not a success. That's why they fired their defensive-minded head coach and brought in a new head coach, somebody who's supposed to actually bring in an offense, bring some innovation to the 49ers.
Do you see him? Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they won't run a similar set for him. I mean, if he's familiar with one offense, it doesn't mean that they can just completely shift him to a different type of player.
Here's the thing. That's my point. Think about with Mike McDaniel.
You didn't invalidate the point there.
I'll invalidate
saying
the
he had
points.
A mediocre season.
I'll invalidate the point here. When do you install offenses in the NFL? It's in the off season. And the Dolphins were pretty high on Jalen Waddle, no doubt. But I don't think anybody expected him to put up 1,000 yards, 6 or 7 touchdowns, 105 receptions. He had a very good season, I think, better than even his biggest believers in Miami expected. But now they're coming in and planning to install a different kind of offense. They've gotten a speedy running back. They've improved the offensive line significantly. They know that Waddle's going to be good, and they know they've got Tyreek Hill. This year, they're actually going to plan things differently. I don't know why you would stick with something that didn't work and build your entire offense pretending you're going to do a different plan. Maybe something that might actually win some games and make the playoffs. If you're just going to go back to the same crummy thing with new people. I think there's no way the Dolphins' offense doesn't look completely different this year.
Maybe, it's a fair point, but that's why I was saying, new coaching staff, yes, you can make that argument. I don't necessarily agree, though, that means a complete shift of what they've been running with the quarterback. I mean, yes, he's young. Yes, being a younger quarterback, you have more ease in molding him into the type of offense you want him to play in. But if this is what he knows and this is what he's used to, then they're going to have to put in a lot of work to get him to be a completely different type of player. I mean,
if Tua can't be that type of player, they're going to draft a quarterback in 23. Look.
That's a good segue. That's a good segue because the pressure's on Tua now. The Dolphins.
But that's
can't
what I mean.
look
This
around.
is a gamble. Sorry to cut you off, Paul. I'm agreeing with you. This is a gamble on Tua. So this move.
Well, not
that's
exactly.
How I see
though.
it.
I don't think. I don't know if it's a gamble on Tua. I think it's a prove it. Because Tua now, there's no more excuses.
It's an ultimatum on Tua.
Yeah. There's no more excuses.
No, you're right.
Because now you have Waddle, you have Hill, you have Gesicki, you have Mostert. Like there's every weapon that you could possibly want if you're Tua Tagovailoa, and if he doesn't deliver, at this point, it's on him. But the other thing that I like for the Dolphins is that, let's say Tua bombs. He's horrible this year. All of a sudden, Miami is, or not all of a sudden, but Miami is an attractive place to bring in a veteran quarterback or someone that you think can get you over the hump, because that roster is very good. The defense is average, but you fix a couple holes there, you're a quarterback away from really being a contender. And who wouldn't want to play with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle in the sun, South Beach? Like, Miami becomes a very attractive option now for any quarterback. But Tua will have the first stab at it.
Yes, I know, and you guys are right. It is an ultimate, like a classic ultimatum, prove it NFL move for a young quarterback. But I'll stick by what I said. It is a bit of a gamble. I mean, only $52 million signing bonus and another 20 or so million coming to Tyreek Hill that year.
Oh, sure.
It's a young quarterback.
Yeah, no, I think there's still a gamble.
They're taking a risk, and I think it's somewhat of it's centered around
whenever you pay someone $25 million a year, you're taking a little bit of a risk.
You're right, David. I even apologize. I was a little bit harsh. Stephen Ross is at the ripe young age of 81. He's got lots of years to look forward to. I'm sure he was perfectly happy with the development from going fourth in division to third in the division last year of their top quarterback while watching Justin Herbert light it up in Los Angeles. Yeah, I don't think he's got any complaints. I think he's happy to let things play out just like they did in the past. And that's why you haven't seen the Dolphins make any significant changes this offseason. I apologize, David.
My gosh.
Hey, guys, out of the receivers.
To disagree.
Out of the receivers right now in the NFL, how many of them are you willing to pay $25 million a year?
One.
3 or 4.
Ziggy,
Two.
Who are your two?
Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. That's it. And the only reason I'm willing to pay them that is because the salary cap's going to continue to increase. Look, what we're seeing across the NFL right now is a freaking coup.
You're crazy.
Right? Guys like Devontae Adams are raking in not even real big bucks, just virtual big bucks, and it's causing people like Tyreek Hill to freak out and want to get on top of the leaderboard. But there's no team that thinks they've got a receiver worth $28 or $29 million a year.
Yeah,
right? They might be willing to eat it.
Pressed. Yep.
They might be willing to eat it and say, look, it's what we need. But truly, even the best wide receivers probably aren't worth that kind of money. Because Tyreek Hill, there's arguably no player in the NFL more game-breaking than him. Paul, we talked about this yesterday with the Vikings. We want game-breaking players.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is the game-breaker on offense. And it feels uncomfortable to be giving him this kind of money.
I think that there are probably 3 or 4 guys on my list, and Justin Jefferson and Chase, they would both be 2 of them. I would give Adams. I would give Chase and Jefferson the deal based on their youth and that, like, I'd want to keep them around. Adams and Hill, I think, would be the other 2 because Adams is just, and I wouldn't want to, like, that's why 4 years is a little much if it was 4 for Hill or Adams, because I think they're both 28 right now, if I'm correct. But Tyreek Hill, there's so many great receivers in the NFL, but there are truly only a handful of game-breaking, like we were saying, game-breaking receivers. Tyreek Hill's speed is one of those game-breaking attributes. Devontae Adams' route running, one of those attributes. The other guys who come close to me on maybe like on a shorter deal, Cooper Kupp or Hopkins, maybe Diggs, but I would be uncomfortable giving them $25 million. Maybe Hopkins.
One thing to pay attention to, the Rams are currently negotiating a raise of Cooper Kupp, who had a better season than any of those wide receivers we mentioned, and they can't afford to pay him anything near this, even with Matthew Stafford taking
the market's crazy. Deal. The market is crazy for receivers right now.
Kupp's getting paid $15.75 a year for the next 3 years.
I mean, Christian Kirk is getting paid like a top 10 receiver. Christian Kirk.
What does Debo need to do to sneak into that?
Debo's in a dangerous place because the 49ers are going to want to pay him like a running back, and he's going to want to get paid like Devontae Adams. And Saquon Barkley is making top 10 running back money at $8 million a year, and Christian Kirk is making top 10 wide receiver money at $20 million a year. So there's a pretty big gap between
How
them.
did he get that deal? I don't know.
Again,
blackmail.
Good question, Paul.
I mean, look, one more thing I want to say about this is I was harsh on the Raiders for the Davante Adams trade and extension a little bit. I wasn't sure it was going to work out. But all the reports have said that Davante Adams extension is what pushed Tyreek Hill out of KC because he wanted a bigger deal than that and KC wouldn't oblige. Look, if all the Raiders had to do to break up Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill was trade for Davante Adams and give him some money, I think I might be willing to give a first-round pick just for those 2 games to get a little bit easier.
Oh, Ziggy,
So
I
good
think
on
that's
them.
an excellent point. No, that's a great point. The Raiders, they're winning the offseason right now. If you look at it from that point of view, they got Davante Adams. They got rid of Tyreek Hill. Tremendous. The Chiefs are a big loser of the offseason right now. The Chiefs are a big loser. Packers are a big loser. Jaguars are a big loser.
But Washington is still a big loser. I stand by that.
Yeah, sure. I just feel like unexpected loser in the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, before we head out, Zach, you hear us, Zach? Our EP, we are reaching out into the other
I'm
world.
right here, boys.
The voice
We
of
are in a
God.
different realm right now. We are in a different realm. I am so hyped. We have the 2 fastest wide receivers in the league. I'm gonna come out and say it. Best duo in the league. Best duo in the league right now. We're gonna quote this. What is it? March? What is it? What's the today's date? March
23rd, 10 o'clock, 10:04.
We're gonna say it right here. We now have the fastest and the best duo wide receivers in the league. We're going to run the AFC East.
That was a great qualification there at the end.
AFC.
It's funny that he made that qualification because it's not even true. It's not even true.
We're gonna run it. We're gonna run it. I know it.
Hey, that's a take. That's a take.
I was waiting for a Super Bowl prediction.
Bills lost. Oh, no, Paul. Whoa. Wait. We'll get there. Bills lost. Who they lose? They lost Cole Beasley this year, right? He was their best slot receiver they had. Stephon Diggs, garbage, right? We have Byron Jones, lock him up all day, or X-Man, lock him up all day. So their offense is just non-existent now against us. So, and we brought everybody back on our defense from last year. So
If
I
you
see us
can't
winning the Super
tell-
Bowl. You're right, Paul. We're winning the Super Bowl.
If
You're right.
you can't
What am I
tell,
saying?
our executive producer, Zach, is a Dolphins fan.
Look, Zach,
Huge. Whoa. Huge Dolphins fan. We just signed Terrell Armstead, too. We signed Terrell Armstead 5 years. That line's just gotten that much better.
Get an elite left tackle for your left-handed quarterback. Well, here's what I'll say about the Dolphins, is the Dolphins are absolutely going to run the AFC East for 1 week until Raheem Mostert suffers a season-ending knee injury like he always does in week 1 or 2. And you're left with Chase Edmonds and Salvin Ahmed to be running the ball for you.
And when Chase Edmonds was alone, right, without Connor, he did great.
Chase Edmonds, a.k.a. got benched for the corpse of James Conner.
Whoa.
I mean, James Conner also had the most touchdowns out of any running back in the league last year. So
How many yards per attempt did he get? Like 3.5? He got fed at the goal line.
He gets in the end zone.
He's
Hey,
old.
wait.
He's old.
Wait. One more question, then we'll get out of here. Do the Chiefs win the AFC West next year?
Yeah.
no,
Look,
absolutely not.
I'm going to tell you why I still can't bet against the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has been in a good situation, no doubt. But every single year he's been a starter, they've made it to the AFC Championship game. I just can't find it in my heart to bet against him until we've seen his streak of not making the AFC Championship game broken. When the contenders are first-round exit Raiders, didn't make the playoffs Chargers, and when was the last time they were in the playoffs? Oh, wait, it was of Peyton Manning, Broncos.
So
But now they have Russell.
So
what?
you take.
What kind of quote is that?
So wait. So you take
They have
Chiefs,
Russell
Ziggy.
Wilson
So
at
you take
quarterback.
Chiefs. Zach, are you taking Denver?
No, I'm taking Denver all the way with Judy, Cortland Sutton. Their running backs are insane. What?
Do you even know what Jerry Judy
This
does
is
as a
insane
football
to think
player?
that
Do you even
David-
know what Jerry
David-
Judy does as a football player?
David, who are you taking?
He makes plays like a football player should.
I've got to respond to Zach, Paul.
Yeah,
Jerry
you
Judy-
got
Let me just Chargers.
Chargers.
No, just take that. You might as well just cut that out.
Yeah, that's the
Cut that out.
charge.
What the heck?
So
You need,
then
you need to have some fans before you make the playoffs.
so I guess I have to be on the Raiders then if we're really looking to get some controversy here.
Chargers.
Yeah,
I'd like
Raiders.
along with Zach's
Raiders.
2 receiver take, I'd like my Chargers take to be noted on Wednesday, March 23rd at 10:08 p.m. And I'd like that to be the last thing of the show. So,
how are you going to stop Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, and the unguardable Hunter Renfrow?
we don't need to stop it. Just score more points.
They signed.
That is the mantra of the AFC West. We don't need to stop you. We just need to score more points.
Zach, do you remember when Russell Wilson called himself Superman?
No.
There was a time when he called himself Superman, but I'll tell you, like Superman, Russell Wilson has a kryptonite, and it is throwing passes over the middle of the field. And I'll tell you, Jerry Jeudy is elite, one of the best in the league at one thing and one thing only, and that is routes in the middle of the field. So they decided to pair Superman with like a stick of green kryptonite and said, this is going to be your ally. You got this. You expect to see a lot of interceptions.
And that's why they have Cortland Sutton and even Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick's come up pretty well as a good receiver for them.
Yeah, Tim Patrick.
I mean, he had Drew Lock throwing to him. Imagine now he's Russell Wilson.
Tim Patrick.
Give me Mecole Hardman over Tim Patrick.
I think Tim Patrick
they're two different players.
Certified mediocre.
Speed. He's all speed.
Well, it doesn't matter how you get the touchdown. It matters that you score 6 points. But we'll see.
Yeah, and when everybody got hurt on the Broncos, Tim Patrick was scoring like a maniac. David should know. He had him on his fantasy team.
Yeah, but my fantasy team was just a wasteland.
That's because everybody else on your team sucked. I don't know what to tell you. But
anyone who spent time on my fantasy team should not be in the same sentence.
I mean, Calvin Ridley basically retired and then tried. He took another year off. he gambled just so he could get suspended for a year and not be on your team again.
I did give Calvin some time to pay off his gambling debt last year.
All right, we'll wrap it up. This was supposed to be an 8-minute segment, but somehow, some way, we always are able to make it longer.
If these guys were right more often, it wouldn't go so long.
Hey,
no, if Ziggy just stopped spewing out
go Raiders, go Raiders, go Raiders.
Hey, go Chargers. Hey, Paul.
We'll see you there in the. Go Tigers.
We'll see you there at the end of the season.